I hated it. Waking up late, stuck in bed, scrolling endlessly, feeling useless, and doing it all over again. I would tell myself tomorrow I'm gonna change, but tomorrow never came. So I was stuck in this bad rotting loop that was draining my confidence and potential. But I broke out of it. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to break down the 3 key lessons you need to understand that help you escape that bad riding cycle for good. So after this video, you're going to be focused, consistent, and you're going to be in full control of your life that not even your bed can hold you back anymore. The first thing we need to cover is you need to know yourself. I was out on my walk and this man was standing outside his house. I see him a couple times. We talk every now and again, we're in the neighborhood, friendly. Oh, he calls out to me. He's like, I need to start walking like you. Now, if you tell me that, all right, I'm done doing what I'm doing. Let's have a conversation. How can I help you do what you want to do? That's my entire, life's purpose. So we had a whole conversation, 20 minutes. I'm just asking him questions. He's giving me his answers. And by the end of it, I realized what was holding this man back. He was telling me he wants to get out and do things, but all he does is stay stuck in his house. He doesn't do anything. And what's hard for him is that he's retired. So he has all this time, but doesn't know how to spend it. So he just spends it inside all the time. So I asked him, what is his hobbies? What does he like to do for fun? What is he interested in? I'm asking all these questions, and he couldn't give me an answer. He was just sidestepping, but I don't know. I lived on the farm, so I didn't really do stuff. I didn't really have hobbies. And then I went to the military. He told me all this stuff, but he could not tell me what he liked. As simple as that. And until he can figure out what he likes, what he's interested in, tap into what kind of skills you want to grow, what hobbies he wants to get into. Of course, he's retired, so he doesn't have to. But obviously, he wants to do something. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been having this conversation until he knows himself and what he's interested in. How is he going to figure out how to structure his day, how to spend his time, other than doing what's easy, which is staying in and rotting away? And this is something that a lot of people struggle with. I struggled with this. I didn't know myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't even know I would have fun being on camera talking to you. I didn't know that this should be my path in life. And until I started learning about myself and reconnecting with my inner child and realizing what I love to do as a kid and bringing those back into my life, that I was able to finally figure out what I wanted to do. I was able to structure my life a lot differently and just do what I want, do what mattered to me instead of doing what is easy, which is distracting ourselves with entertainment because we don't know how to spend our time because we don't know ourselves. So until you know what you want, and you know until you know what you want your life to look like, until you know what you're interested in, until you know what you're trying to achieve, you're gonna continue bedriding because that's the easier choice because you don't know the path you want to take. It's like right now you're living and the lights are turned off everywhere. And if the lights are turned off, you don't know where you're going. Are you going to keep walking? No, you're going to just sit there because where else can you go? But the minute you know yourself and you know what you want, the light turns on. Now you see where you are and you can start moving. So how can you know yourself? Well, what kind of helped me was looking at this box your whole life, looking at this. We're picking 3 to 5 areas that I want to invest time in. And once I decided my whole life, there was another thing I had to do that we're going to get into, but just so you can kind of get an idea of what this looks like picking your whole life. If you can see on my board, because I looked at the whole life and I was able to figure out what mattered to me, what areas I want to focus on. Now I have entrepreneur, health, family, student, spiritual goals, because these are things that I want to dedicate my whole life to. And now I have these easy goals set into it, which we're going to get back to later on. But regardless, the first step I want you to take is to look at this box, and pick what you want to focus on, what matters to you. Next thing is you have to set goals, which I've been alluding to a little bit. So my experience with setting goals, I remember when I first saw the box that I've been showing to you repeatedly, the whole box life. I saw it, and this is before I had any goals set, before I was really deep into self-improvement. this is probably like the first couple months of me getting into self-improvement. Anyway, saw the box. I was like, okay, well, I want this, I want that, I want that. I actually have the original box on my wall, and on it I have spirituality, hobby, personal growth, friends, leisure time, relationship, contribution, family, work, financial security. And I set goals in every area. I set 1 to 3 goals. And when I finished setting those goals, I looked at the paper. It was a long list of paper, and I was like, wow. Now I know how to spend my time. Like, that's crazy. Like, I had such a comprehensive list of what mattered to me and what I want to do to show up in those areas. And suddenly, it didn't feel like, oh, well, I don't know what my life is for. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm lost. No, it's like I finally had direction. The path, the Yellow Brick Road literally rose up the second I made those weekly goals. And I felt relieved because now I knew how I was going to spend my time, what I was going to be doing. And that's the biggest plus of having your weekly goals, because not even weekly goals, but having goals set, because now you know what you're trying to achieve in life. So what the action step I'm going to give to you is, of course, you've already picked the areas of life that matter to you. Now set weekly goals in them. I have weekly goals in mind. One of my weekly goals for relationships is to visit my grandparents twice a week. And then for this week, it's to call 2 of my brothers. Another goal of mine is for spiritual is to read The Power Now, like deeply read it 3 times this week, where I just sit down and really focus on it and write notes and read the same paragraph 15 times if needed. Another weekly goal of mine is to upload 4 videos and to rework my lead magnet. Notice how I'm not even looking at my goal board, but I know what I'm doing this week. And so I'm able to structure this week around those goals. So now I'm not just riding in bed, because literally I don't have to be recording these videos. I could be sleeping still. I could be the person who gets up an hour before it's time to go to work and then rush off to work and then be miserable and come home and then just sit and chill and do nothing. But I don't do that because I have goals I want to work on. And so that requires me to get up and get started. And when I get off work, it requires me to stay focused. And that's what happened to you when you set goals, as I have set on my wall. So work on your weekly goals. I have a client that I'm personally coaching, and we first started off, like the first week of us working together, we had her goals set and made. And it's only recently, and it was weekly goals. It's only recently that she's come to me and she's like, all right, I'm ready for something longer term. I'm ready to really get my hands dirty. And now we're looking at longer term goals to be set. So this doesn't mean you set a weekly goal, you're only going to have weekly goals and that's it. No, you'll have time. You'll eventually want to expand those goals and make them more longer term. But I'm just saying to set weekly goals for now so that you can kind of get your feet in the game, get some practice in, and then when you see how awesome it is to have weekly goals, then you'll be like, okay, let's push the needle. But I just want you to get started. So this is your baby steps. Set weekly goals underneath the areas of life that you picked. Now, last thing, so you know what you like, which has allowed you to set the goals you want, and now you know how you're going to be spending your time. The next part is schedule the free time out for your goals. So obviously, I'm doing this before work. It is 6:43. When I finish this, I have one more video to make, and I'm going to go for a walk. Before work, from 5:30 to 7 a.m., I'm always doing work. Whether that's creating scripts, finding titles, creating thumbnails, coaching, creating videos, I am doing work. And then I go to work. I go to my 9 to 5, I do it. And then when I get off my 9 to 5, I'm either going to visit my grandparents, I'm going to work out, I'm going to read, I'm going to be productive. Because on my goal board, I have the goals to do push-ups, to practice my handstands, to watch seminars, to read, to visit my grandparents, to make calls, to work on my lead magnet. So I schedule that in the night before. I ask myself, what am I working on? I look at my goal board, what do I need to do? And then I put that into my day. And I'm going to show you my schedule. I'll have it pop up, so you kind of get an example of how I'm doing that. But and unless you have a schedule, because you can have these weekly goals, but if you don't schedule it, you're not going to work on it. You're just not. Because the worst thing you can do is to think about what you want to do before you do it. Not before it, but like immediately before it. You want to think about what you want to do hours before you do it. Or if you can't, and like things like happen, you have to make changes. Then of course, you change it in the moment. But you generally want to have like started your day when it's already over. Because if you're going through your day, you haven't planned out what you want to do. When you have free time, you're not immediately going to think, okay, well, this is the time I can work on this. No, you're going to think what's easy for me to do, and that's going to be to do nothing. And so now you're just going to be in your bed rotting away, watching whatever you're watching, feeling like a failure because you didn't take the time to think about what you're going to be doing. So now, if you make a schedule, you plan out your day, let's say you have some free time. Oh, wait, you actually don't, because you know during this time that you normally have free, you're going to go for a walk. You're going to go to the gym. You're going to read. You're going to call your friend. You're going to work on a hobby. You're going to work on your business. Like, there's so many things you can do once you sit down and plan the night before. And that's what I'm suggesting to you. Now that you have your weekly goals set, the night before, think about your day from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep. Look at what you're going to be spending your time doing and fit in your weekly goals into that. That's literally what I've done. As you can see with my weekly goals, which I have pop up again, you can see I've literally thought from the moment I wake up until I go to sleep, what am I doing? What am I doing? And I do it. If you do those things, you figure yourself out, which is the biggest challenge. You figure yourself out. You set goals. You make a schedule. You'll be the most productive, focused person you've ever known. And you will continue going up in life. You will not go down in life anymore. You'll be going up because you're living with intention. Now, if this video was helpful to you in any way, shape, or form, and you need more guidance, you want to get your life together, don't worry, I've got a starter kit just for you. It'll be in the first link of my description. Get your life together starter kit. And we'll go into more details that will help you along the way. But regardless, you've got this. I believe in you, and I'll see you for the next video.